In 2002, Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger's 7-year marriage officially ended, but the custody battle over their 11-year-old daughter, Ireland, rages on 6 years later. This battle made headlines again last week after a blistering voicemail from Alec to Ireland found its way to media outlets. And he's here for the first time, and he says his only interview, to tell us what he says drove him to the edge and let us understand more about the story. Please welcome Alec Baldwin.
First of all, I want to say, and you both know better than I do how this business works, I got a huge bouquet of flowers from Don Imus.
Did you really?
And no.
One doesn't know. No. You haven't lost your sense of humor.
Exactly. But how are you? How are you doing?
Well, I want to just say, because I thought a lot about this, and there are limitations on what you can say and what you should say under these circumstances, and that's a part of the problem, I think. And I want to say that I've learned 3 things. I've learned many things, but I've learned 3 things as a result of this first situation. One is that my deep, deep, deep and seemingly endless frustration about this situation, which is complicated, led me to end up saying something to someone that I really meant to say to someone else. And I've learned that to be angry, there's nothing wrong with being angry.
You didn't mean to say it to your child.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being frustrated or angry about something. It's the way you do it, and as people often do in this world, I took it out on the wrong person because I'm unable, under the current dynamic, to address the other person.
Right.
And I realized that, that was wrong.
Can we say who it is, or we're not allowed to?
Well, everyone knows, but it's just,
You said it to your daughter and you meant it for your ex-wife.
Well, I think that goes without saying.
Yes.
But and the other thing is that another thing that I learned, which was really amazing to me, and I really learned this on the deepest level, is how many people in the world and how many people out there that communicate to you through the internet and through other situations feel themselves to be abused by a parent, or wounded by a parent, or hurt by their parent. And you can't imagine how many people would email me on my website. I have a website, alecbaldwin.com, like a lot of people in the business. And they would email me, and they would tear into me in a very, very kind of corrosive way. But I understood that they were people who they themselves had been attacked, berated, abused, so forth. In my own case, this message, I had never done that before in my life. I want to say I had yelled at my daughter to watch out, you might get hit by a car on Central Park West, you know what I mean, or you got to get out of the riptide in the ocean. But I had never done this before in my life, and I realized that a lot of the response that I get from people is them feeling their own pain. But I just want to finish this one thing. And the third thing I learned, which has also been really unbelievable to me, is how much the people, and I think both of you know this, and you in particular in your career, is how much the people in the tabloid media are themselves people who are abused and are people who live with shameful secrets, and they make it their career to humiliate you and expose your secrets. Like the guy that's responsible for this tape coming out, we don't need to say his name, it doesn't matter. The guy that's responsible, I called some friends of mine in LA and I said, what's his story? And they told me his story, what he's all about, where he's coming from, what are his secrets, you know what I mean? And you find out that everybody who works in tabloid media are people who are filled with self-hatred and shame. And the way that they manage those feelings is that they destroy the lives of other people and reveal your secrets. And I thought to myself, it's like I couldn't get over how, they could beat you all day long,
After this happened, because, you do love your child, and the people know that. Have you talked to Ireland? Where do things stand now?
Well, that falls into the category of something that I can't talk about because there's going to be ongoing procedures and so forth and things like that. I'm writing this book because.
Well, can you tell us if you talked to her since
I
that?
can't discuss any of
You
that.
can't discuss any of that.
No. I either can't or I prefer not to.
Okay,
but
fine.
lawyers will tell you. But the thing is that my friends, my close friends, and my family, and my colleagues, they all know what's been done to me. My own mother doesn't have a phone number to call my daughter. My ex-wife would take my daughter to her hometown and take my daughter all around to see all of her mother's family, except her own mother, because my ex-wife has a ceaseless feud with her mother. And my ex-mother-in-law, who I'm still friendly with, would call me on the phone